Your body is the key to reclaiming your divine power. And it's the opposite of what we're taught, the opposite of what we've been told for thousands of years. Because we've been told that the body is something we simply carry around, that it's an object. We're taught to dominate it. We're taught to control it. We're taught to suppress our emotions and feelings. I know I've lived from the head up for the first half of my life, more than half of my life. And in part, it's because intellectual achievement was prized. And I learned at a very young age that doing well in school and achieving got me attention, and positive attention. My body only received negative attention. And it also wasn't safe to feel. It didn't feel as if my feelings were welcome by the outside world. And I was incredibly sensitive. So I started to shut down my feeling state, to shut down my heart, which is really shutting down yourself. And quickly found a safe place in my head because my body wasn't a safe place. And it wasn't until my spiritual journey really consciously began, because we're all on a spiritual journey, whether we're conscious of that or not. We can't not be. We're spiritual beings. But when it consciously began in 2008, when I had a flood that destroyed almost everything I owned in a matter of 5 hours. I had to literally be rescued by firefighters. And at the time, I was a criminal prosecutor in the middle of this big jury trial. It was a felony jury trial. We were in the middle of picking a jury. We were in day 2 of picking a jury. And I've been preparing for this case for a very long time. And I woke up at 5:30 in the morning to go to the gym, made my breakfast, got my coffee ready, did all the things, sat down, and water started to come into the house. And long story short, I began to really question my path and what I was doing and why. Why I'd purchased the home 7 months prior, why I'd done what society was telling me to do my whole life, why I was looking outward for all these signs of security and safety when it was all destroyed in a matter of moments. And then I kept having more and more awakenings through challenges. And after a bike accident, a little over a year later, I had a lot of chronic pain. So I started seeking more bodily type therapies. And the more I started to go into my body, the more I started to connect with all of those feelings that I had suppressed, that really I was scared of, because I didn't know how to feel without getting lost in the feeling. And I started to uncover parts of myself that I had long denied. And this is what happens when we go into the body, because the body is energy. We see it as a dense physical thing, but the body is energy. And when we start to see the body as energy, we start to realize that when we go into the body, we're not going into the body to connect with the physicality of the body. We are going into the body to connect with the energy that lies within the body, that comprises the body, that forms the body. And that is the energy of your soul. Now, it took me many more years to understand this because no one really taught me this. But I began to realize that in and through the energy of my body, not only was I connecting with my inner experience, my own needs, my own feelings, my own desires, I was also connecting with what we call the subconscious mind. And the subconscious mind, according to Bruce Lipton, controls about 95% of our behavior because we're generally acting according to the subconscious versus our conscious mind. Now, I know from personal experience and witnessing my clients that this number can change drastically. The more you make conscious, the more you are in the present moment and doing the inner work of connecting to your body and wisdom and truth, the less the subconscious is ruling you unconsciously, because you become conscious of it and you bring it to light. You become conscious of the choices you're making in this moment. And that work never ends as long as you're alive, because we have to continue to be conscious. And the subconscious, for me, I see it as the soul's imprints from past, present lives. I say past, present lives because, time and space is not linear, so we call it a past life, but in reality, it's occurring simultaneously. But it's easier for us to say past life because it's easier for our mind to grasp that. And they're energetic imprints that create beliefs, that create experiences, that create emotions, that are energy that the soul carries with it through lifetimes, through dimensions, through various realities. And so what the subconscious really is that belief system or karmic imprint that you have from a past, present life. And so it is the way that your energy has been formed to create your reality until you're present enough, conscious enough, access the energy enough to say, I don't actually want to be ruled by this imprint, this karma, this soul trauma, this old belief system. I prefer to become conscious of it and to align with and connect to my soul's truth instead, my divine power. And that's what accessing the subconscious really allows us to do. When we go into the body with the lens of curiosity, because everything you find in your body is not your truth. Your feelings are not your truth. They are an experience that you're having. So when we go into the body, we don't go into the body, one, to connect to the physicality. We also don't go into the body to, oh, this is the truth and that's it. We go into the body like an explorer. Oh, what's this? What's over here? What's over there? What am I finding? What am I locating? Oh, there's a feeling that maybe I've suppressed for a long time. So I allow that energy to reveal itself, to be with it, to give it space to move, to inform me. I open my heart to receive its wisdom. And through that opening, through that attention, through that love, perhaps I get to the root of that belief and discover it's not my soul's truth at all. It's from a trauma, or it's something that I inherited, or it's something that I took on based on the beliefs of others that really isn't mine at all. But I've been identifying with it for so long that until I access it and look at it and give it space, I'm going to continue to identify it. But when I look at it, I can say, that's not mine. So what is my soul truth? And connecting to and knowing your soul's truth requires releasing what's not your soul's truth, but simultaneously, because again, it's not linear, anchoring into what is your soul's truth and knowing how to decipher what is your soul's truth, what is not your soul's truth. That's why it's helpful to have a guide. That's why I do what I do, because I know that I can help people speed this process up tenfold, if not 100-fold. I've been doing this inner work for 16 years and I've identified the core beliefs and the core patterns and the core habits that are deeply embedded in the individual and collective subconscious, so that we can speed this process up in ourselves. And I'm able to see your soul and help you access your truth and help see what is not your truth. I have that gift. So if you're like, I have no idea how to do this or where to start, you can either work with me one-on-one and schedule a free 30-minute session, or have Ecstatic Soul Embodiment, which teaches these foundational principles. That's only $333. You can start that anytime. And it's also a devotion to, I'm going to form this intimate relationship with myself through my body by learning how to connect with the energy of my body and open to what is here, while holding the observer consciousness to know that I am not that. I'm not limited to that. I am more than that. And so as I go in as an explorer into my body to connect with my energy and what is living here, what is inhabiting this space that I call me, that I can use the power of my consciousness to filter out what does not feel in alignment for me and who I am now. As you anchor into the divine that you are by connecting to that soul essence and inquiring of your soul, what that deep truth is that you're ready to live, to embody, to reclaim. For example, shame. A lot of people carry shame. In this world, in this society, it's very common because we are literally taught and conditioned to identify ourselves based on the external world. And shame is seeing ourselves through the eyes of another, taking that in, making that view our own. Not realizing at the time that we do that, that their view is limited by their own trauma, their own beliefs, their own conditioning. And that it's not how your soul sees you. And so in order to know how your soul sees you, you have to go into the body, because again, your body is energy and contains the energy of your soul, the truth of your soul, as you learn how to navigate what is your truth, what is not. And that is really a process that I take my clients through, of releasing the external identities by anchoring into your internal identity. And that process of unraveling and unfolding and releasing allows you to begin to live from the inside out instead of taking the outside world in and making it your own. And there's a radical difference in how you show up in the world when you learn how to do this, because this is sovereignty. Sovereignty is living from the inside out, because you are your own authority. You belong to you. You choose what to take in, you choose what to keep out. That is sovereignty. Because you know how to source love and safety and belonging and worth from within. Because you've anchored into your soul's truth, which exists in and through your body. And you're no longer ruled by the mind, which is based on the external world, and everything you've been told, everything you see from others. You're not even ruled anymore by the energetic imprints of the soul trauma that you've carried from this life or others. Because you're able to go in and filter, awaken your divine perception, and choose, what is my soul truth? All that being said, it's important to note that the soul, in my experience and perception, the soul chooses to have a lot of these experiences with which to know itself. And our society has this judgment of trauma as being somehow bad, And I'm not saying that trauma is good, but it's not bad either, right? It's our labeling of it that can create this shame. Because, and I'll talk more about trauma in future episodes, but trauma is disassociation from self, and it's disconnection from love, because the self can't handle that disconnection from love. And so it jumps out of the body and it doesn't feel safe and it can't be here. And if that's the case, love is the way to heal that wound, right? Coming back in connection to the self is the way to heal that. And we go through these traumatic experiences often for a reason that is beyond our mental comprehension. And there's nothing wrong with anyone who's ever experienced trauma. I know that some of my most traumatic experiences have been the deepest portals for me to reclaim my power and truth and sovereignty. And while I wouldn't consciously be like, yeah, let's go do that again, I wouldn't trade it for the world, because it made me who I am, because I was able to step outside of the trauma and to see through the lens of my soul, which has a much higher perspective than the worldly physical one. And that's the lens we take into the body to reclaim our power, our divine power, our true power, power that is not based on the external. That's the lens. Let me bring in the lens of my soul. Let me bring in the lens of a higher perspective. Let me bring in the lens of love. Let me bring in the lens that I am not that. Let me bring in the lens that I'm beyond that. Let me bring in the lens that helps me see my true identity, so I can come back in a union with me. And that's the path. It's the path that I would be honored to take you on. And that's the path that I encourage you to go on, whether it's with me or in your own way. It is the only way to experience freedom. And so you can begin with connecting to the energy of your body. I have a free activation. It's a heart activation that will help take you there. It is encoded with some light language, and light language is frequency, sound, and light that helps bypass the conscious mind and affect energy in the body. And so this free heart activation is available to you if you would like to receive it. It's available when you go to my Substack. I'll put the link below as well, and simply subscribe to get notices of the podcast. And you'll get the heart activation emailed to you that you can listen to as often as desired. It could be even part of your daily practice for a while to really encode the frequencies and allow you to connect more deeply with your heart and your truth. I also want to mention that there are about 2 weeks left to receive a $100 discount on the upcoming Unleash Your Inner Magic retreat, which is happening September 13th through 15th near Asheville, North Carolina, and Hot Springs. It's a women's only retreat, this particular one, and the discounted price is only $644 for the weekend, including all the rituals, all the ceremonies, portal yoga, ecstatic embodiment practices, nourishing food, accommodation. The only thing you have to cover is getting there and back. So that discount of $100 ends on June 13th. So go ahead and look at the link below if that calls to you, if you want to join us for that, because we'll be going into the body to deeply connect with the truth and the magic that's available to us when we start to anchor into our divinity more consciously. So Jessica Falcon with the Path to Sovereignty, sending you so much love